What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back to a new review. Today we are checking out another phone from Nokia called the Nokia X6 or the Nokia 6.1 Plus. So depending where you buy this phone you may see a different name, but this is the exact same phone. So you can find this for just under $200, and for the price it does offer pretty good value, but we have to keep in mind that there are a lot of phones available on the market under $200 that are pretty good. So this one will have to be extra good so it can make people buy it. So with this one we get a very premium look. We have glass on the front, glass on the back and a metallic frame, so just as you would get from a flagship, but with this one we also get a 3.5mm audio jack, something that we don't usually see with flagship devices. The sound quality from that audio jack is also pretty good. We also get that 2018 modern look with the notch. Now the notch isn't exactly used for anything. I mean, we have a camera and a speaker there, we don't even get a notification light, but at least you can hide the notch from the software if you don't like it. The 16 megapixel front-facing camera takes decent looking pictures and probably better than a lot of other phones that I've tried in the past, and since I've had this phone for about 4 months now, I can show you pictures that I took back in the summer, so when it was nice and sunny out. So the pictures look good even if you don't have enough light, and as I said, better than a lot of other phones that I've tried in the past. The screen is a 5.8 inches IPS panel that has a 19:9 screen ratio and a 1080p resolution, so higher resolution than the iPhone XR. Now the colors on the screen look great, the viewing angles are also great, the screen sensitivity is pretty good, but the brightness isn't amazing, so if you take the phone outside in direct sunlight you're gonna have trouble seeing it, but that's kind of the case with pretty much all phones under $200. As I mentioned earlier, the phone's frame is made out of metal, so on the right hand side we have the power button and the volume keys, the buttons being made out of metal as well, and on the left hand side we have the slot for the SIM card. So this device can take either 2 SIM cards or a SIM card and an SD card. Now unfortunately that SD card cannot be used as internal storage, so you can still save pictures on it, music and stuff like that, but you're not going to be able to install apps on the SD card. However, this version, the one that I have, comes with 64 gigs of internal storage, and out of that, after the operating system you still have about 54 gigs left, so you're not going to be running out of space anytime soon. Moving to the bottom of the device, there we have the USB-C port and the speaker. So this one supports OTG and it also supports fast charging, so charging the device from 0 to 100 takes about an hour and a half, which is not bad. Now the speaker doesn't sound anything spectacular, I mean it gets loud enough, but it's just one tiny speaker, and this is a quick sample so you can hear how the speaker sounds. We must never stop the way, yeah. Birds jumping and I hear my name, grasping into life. Life is happy but it's so insane. And since I was talking about charging a few seconds ago, I might as well talk about the battery life. And unfortunately, the battery life is the worst thing about this phone. So inside it, we have a 3060 mAh battery. And on one charge, well, it's gonna be difficult to make it through an entire day. So you can barely get 5 hours of screen time. And I've used this phone, as I said, for almost 4 months. And yeah, you can never make it through an entire day if you use the phone for gaming and for day-to-day tasks. So it's nice that it supports fast charging, but the battery life on it just sucks. Moving to the back of the device, there we have the fingerprint scanner and a couple of cameras. So we have a 16 megapixel sensor and a 5 megapixel sensor. Now the fingerprint scanner is accurate every single time, but I don't find it as fast as the one that we've had on the Nokia X5 that I reviewed about a week ago. So this one is a bit slower. Now you can also use the face unlocking if you don't like the fingerprint scanner, but the face unlocking doesn't work good if you don't have plenty of light. So if you're in a dark room, the face unlocking isn't gonna work and you're gonna have to use the fingerprint scanner. As for the camera as well, I've actually done a camera comparison video between this phone and a Xiaomi phone about 4 months ago, I'm gonna say, and I'll leave a link in the video's description or the top right corner just in case you wanna see that camera comparison. So if you have plenty of light, the cameras on the back do really well. Even the edge detection is pretty good around subjects if you're taking pictures with the portrait mode, but as soon as you don't have enough light, the pictures are becoming a bit blurrier and a bit out of focus. But that's the case with a lot of cheaper devices these days. So for plenty of light, the cameras are great. For low light, not that great. Moving on to performance, so up until a few weeks ago this phone used to run Android 8.1, and even though we have the fairly powerful Snapdragon 636, there was just so much lag for everything. Even scrolling through your home screens it was laggy. But now that the phone got Android 9, well, it feels like a totally different device. And this is the main reason why I haven't done a review on this phone up until today. Because with Android 8, it was just not that great. But now with Android 9, it feels so much better. And now it actually feels like a phone that I can recommend. So the scores that we get on the Antutu benchmark and the Geekbench 4 are fairly normal for the Snapdragon 636, and most apps that you're gonna use with it work really good. So the Facebook app works good, the Instagram app works good, Chrome works good, on the YouTube app the maximum resolution that you can watch videos is 1080p, and you can also zoom in so you can take full advantage of the screen. Now if you plan on playing games with this, it will do decent enough for games, but games like PUBG, for example, even if you lower the graphics settings to like minimum, well, you're still gonna notice some skipped frames here and there, because, well, the Snapdragon 636 is just not that powerful. I mean, you cannot compare this with like the Snapdragon 845, for example. So it's still decent enough for gaming, but this isn't exactly a gaming phone. The GPS unit inside it works really well. It only takes a second or two to find your location, and no matter where you are, it doesn't seem to lose your location. For sensors, we have all the sensors that you would find in a flagship device, including a gyroscope, and all the sensors seem to work good as well. Connectivity-wise, we get dual-band Wi-Fi and 4G connectivity, but unfortunately there is no NFC. And here in Canada, the phone works on 2G, 3G, and on 4G. But unfortunately, I cannot check the bands, and I cannot tell you if this would work in the US or not. Now, the speaker at the top here could be a bit louder, because depending where you are and how much noise there is around you, you may have trouble hearing the other person. As for the speeds over Wi-Fi and the wireless network, well, they're okay, but definitely not the best that I've ever seen. So to quickly conclude this video, this phone has a lot of things going for it. It looks great, it performs great, it has good cameras, it has a decent screen, but the battery life on it sucks. And it is kind of expensive. I mean, for $200 you can get the Xiaomi Redmi Note 6 Pro, and I find that phone a bit better than this one. And we get similar performance, somewhat better cameras, I would say. So this phone looks great, but the battery life sucks on it. And well, that's what I can say about this phone. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, press that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.